The moment we come into this world, the entire society basically decides for us what our whole lives are going to be like. We receive an education, graduate, find a job, save money to find a place to live and have a decent lifestyle. We get married and of course have children, slave away for them day in and day out until they grow up, only to walk down the exact same path we did, packed in concrete boxes, doing jobs that they hate because they're told they need them, by the same system that systematically educates all of us on the importance of buying products that aren't even remotely related to our basic survival needs as humans. And yet we keep on chasing this endless chain of products, each causing us to crave the next, until we become too old to ever enjoy what we've invested our years in buying, with no more health left or even the will to keep on living. And at the end we actually wonder where life has gone, and why after all this effort we still aren't content. We feel like we've been robbed of our years in this ruthless pursuit of happiness. And it's true. We all accept to be robbed of our lives just to ensure any kind of stability in this capitalistic concrete jungle. The means of happiness cannot be chased. They are to only be realized and experienced, because they already very much exist in the day-to-day blessings we all take for granted. Look at your food, mankind. How often do you actually look at your food and think about all the stages it went through to finally reach you in this form? It is Allah who sends the winds, and they stir the clouds and spread them in the sky however He wills. And He makes them into fragments, then you see the rain emerge from within them. He poured down the water in abundance, then split the earth in clefts, and caused therein the grain to grow. Have you seen the seeds which you sow? Is it you that make them grow, or is God the grower? None of that is ours to control. We only do what was meant to be in our capacity as humans. After that, we simply wait for the plants to emerge. We harvest the crops. They go through all the stages we've developed for our lives, until they reach their destined stopping places at precise points in time in determined portions. But since we receive such blessings in small quantities or numbers, we don't realize how significant they really are in value when put together. An average person with a lifespan of 67 years breathes around 250 million liters of air in their lifetime, eats about 44,000 kilograms of food, drinks approximately 47,000 liters of water, all determined in God's ultimate plan for everything. Allah has set for all things a decreed extent. Have you seen the water that you drink? Have you ever thought about the origin of this remarkable substance you consume every day? All the particles made up of oxygen and hydrogen atoms that have existed for billions of years, going through a tremendous chain of chemical interactions throughout the universe until they reached you in this form. If you truly are serious about gaining insight into what has value in life, take yourself back to the origins of things, starting with your own. As God created you from an extract of clay, placed you as a sperm cell in a firm lodging, a single sperm cell that survived out of hundreds of millions of other ones that simply perished, was you. Then made the cell into a clinging clot, made the clot into a lump of flesh, turned the lump into bones and covered the bones with flesh, then developed you into another creation. And because He's the provider, He made sure you had the best home ready for you upon your emergence. The only inhabitable planet in the entire observable universe for billions of light years in all directions. A safe haven in the middle of a vast ocean of monstrosity and horror. He He has made the earth a resting place for you, and the heaven a solid structure, and made the heaven a protected and well-guarded ceiling. Allah is He who raised the heavens without any pillars that you see, and He restrains the heaven from falling upon the earth unless by His permission. He gave you authority on the earth and appointed for you therein provisions for your lives. It is He who sent down rain from the sky. From it is drink, and from it is foliage in which you send your cattle to pasture. With it He grows for you the crops, olives, palm trees, grapevines, and from all the fruits. Of every fruit He placed on the earth a pair. Various types and flavors to provide you not only with nutrition, but also enjoyment, through the 5 receptors on your tongue which register all tastes, along with the sense of taste itself, which He created. He who produced fire for you out of the green trees, and then from it you ignite. Who has made the earth spread out for you as a cradle, and cast into it firmly set mountains lest it shift with you, and rivers and roads that you may be guided. Allah has made for you out of that which He has created shades, and made shelters for you in the mountains. He has made for you from your homes a place of rest, and of His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates, so you may find tranquility in them, and made for you from your mates children and grandchildren. And the grazing livestock He has created for you, in them is warmth and benefits, and from them you eat. And for you in them is the enjoyment of beauty when you bring them in for the evening, and when you send them out to pasture. He gives you drink from that which is in their bellies, and on them and on ships you are carried. Have you ever looked at one of such colorful creatures and wondered, out of all this randomness on the earth, how can something that remarkably beautiful and artistic emerge, with such complex patterns and intricate designs that are never duplicated? The answer is quite simple. Nothing is ever random. It's clear that the sustenance of those creatures is not at all dependent upon the appeal of their physical forms, and they certainly don't possess the artistic sense to fully appreciate their designs, or the level of awareness that can enable them to fathom the extent of their truthfulness, their capacity for patience, perseverance, pride, vanity, playfulness, intelligence, loyalty, love, sacrifice, generosity, steadiness, and mystery. No single creature has the ability to comprehend and appreciate the essence of all that is on this planet, except for one: you. It is He who created for you all of that which is on and within the earth. You can't come across a verse like this and simply move on. You owe it to yourself to take a moment and contemplate it. Everything on the earth was fundamentally created for you. Every single thing you see and don't see on this planet has been carefully designed and constructed by the Creator in preparation for the arrival of mankind. Every living organism and non-living thing, all cells, particles, and atoms, basically everything on this planet and any of the 4 states of matter being solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. Fractions of sciences like mathematics, physics, chemistry, geology, and biology, along with their governing laws and principles that result in all the physical, chemical, and biological processes which collectively keep this entire miracle that is the earth, and therefore you, alive, through a web of interrelated procedures governed by a balance and control whose extents might drive you insane if you even begin to visualize them. And all of this is wrapped in a purely colorful, sublime beauty for you to feast your senses on, through your eyes which have been designed to distinguish up to 10 million colors, your nose which has about 400 types of scent receptors that can detect at least 1 trillion different odors, your ears which can detect sounds at frequencies from about 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, and your sense of touch, which simply puts everything else into perspective and allows for optimal satisfaction in any pleasurable physical experience. So whenever you look at anything on the surface of this planet, or better yet, if you ever gaze at a sunset and nobody else is around to enjoy that with you, realize that the provider with his ultimate knowledge knew even before you existed that you were going to be standing right there, at that point in time, alone, gazing at the horizon. And he designed that angle of the sunset especially for you. Yet, there is more. As God said, He has honored us, the children of Adam, carried us on land and sea, provided us with lawful good things, and preferred us over many of those whom He's created with a marked preference. But if you believe this preference was only manifested in gifts, you're wrong. You have been honored not only through passing blessings, but also through rank, your status in the cosmic system. For you have been granted sovereignty over the entire physical realm. He has subjected to you what is in the heavens and on the earth, all from Him. Subjugation is the process of putting something or someone under complete control in order to serve a higher purpose. He has made the earth subservient to you. This enormous 4.5 billion-year-old creature has been made submissive to serve you. But not only the earth as an entity, every single thing that resides within it or on its surface as well. Creatures that almost have an identical lifespan to yours, some that can reach ages of 200 years old, such trees that live for more than 3,000 years, oceans like the Atlantic, which is believed to have been around for 180 million years, mountains that have existed for more than 450 million years. And on top, you're the master, walking among subjected creatures on the surface of a larger, subservient one. Even the birds flying in the firmament of the heaven have been tied to order for servitude. And it is He who has subjected the sea to you, that you eat fresh, tender meat from it, and that you extract from it ornaments you wear. And subjected to you the ships to sail through the sea by His command, and subjected to you the rivers. And He has made the sun and the moon subservient to you, both constantly pursuing their courses. Those are also creatures that we all take for granted, ancient ones that we foolishly consider to be senseless objects. They are not objects. They're beings like you and me with a will. They just have different forms and different types and levels of awareness, but they are aware of their existence and its purpose. And this purpose is to serve you. The sun is also believed to be 4.5 billion years old. So is the moon. And they are inferior to you in rank. He made the sun a shining light, and the moon a derived light, and determined for it phases, that you may know the number of years and calculation, each running for a term appointed. It is not for the sun to overtake the moon, nor does the night outstrip the day, and each one is floating in an orbit. Our planet orbits this flaming star at an average distance of 150 million kilometers. At its closest point, the Earth gets to 147 million kilometers, and at its most distant point, it's 152 million kilometers far. Had those distances been just a little different, the Earth would have turned into a blazing ball of fire, or a freezing wasteland. The moon stabilizes the movement of the Earth as it rotates around its axis. Besides the fact that its gravitational pull along with the sun's cause what we know as the tides, which determine the behavior of fish and other sea creatures that we benefit from. The sun and the moon are by precise calculation. And He has subjected to you the night and day. He merges night into day and merges day into night. A continuous process that the all-capable Himself carefully maintains for you to stay alive. And the stars are subjected by His command. The center of our galaxy puts each of its stars in a certain orbit around it based on the star's mass and the space between it and the center. And based on their magnitude and distance from the Earth, you receive just the right amount of light from every one of those stars that are visible to you, so they can all light up your entire night sky together. He has decorated the lower heaven with beacons of light. Set the stars for you that you may guide your course with their help through the darkness of the land and sea. And made constellations in the heaven, and adorned it for the beholders. If you count the blessings of Allah, never will you be able to enumerate them. And after all of this, you're still wondering about the value of your life. You're still oblivious to how precious you are to your Creator. Stop directing your vision towards all the wrong things. You are not your body, this clay form that you see in the mirror. You're not the earthly desires of this body or the cheap materialistic needs you have. You're not your position at work, how much money there is in your bank account, the possessions you own, or any other meaningless things forced upon you by capitalism. You're not even of this physical world. You are much greater than this. You're a superior creature who was temporarily given a physical form to be tested just for a brief period of time. This body is nothing but a vessel for the real you. The self that existed before this life and will continue to exist eternally after this life's end. But even as part of this lower dimension on the earth, your body was still given superiority over all other physical forms. As God has created man in the best stature, shaped and perfected your forms, and above all, He has granted you something that was not meant for any other creature. He gave you from His own Spirit. The Spirit He has breathed into mankind. The one that has made you a musician, a painter, a designer, a thinker, an innovator, inventor, explorer, a truth seeker. The Spirit that has made you unlike any other creatures around you contemplate your purpose and place in the universe. Now you know your place. You hold within yourself everything in this universe. You're the greatest creature in this universe. You are the master of this universe. Go back to the origins of things. Remember where you came from. How God created you before while you were nothing. Remember where you're going. As to your Lord is the return of everything. And it is He who made one laugh and shed tears. And it is He who caused death and gave life. The one who created death and life. That is Allah, your Lord. There is no God except Him, the Creator of everything. So glorify Him in worship and follow His path.